Hello and welcome! My name is Ian Crew. I'm an instructor at the Joy of Dance Center in Toronto, Ontario, and the creator of SocialBallroom.Dance, where you can learn your dance at your place on your schedule. So we've been covering the various benefits of ballroom dancing over the past 3 weeks, and I thought it would be good to wrap up with a look at how ballroom dancing can enrich our everyday lives in ways that have nothing to do with ballroom dancing itself. I think this is something that a lot of people overlook. They see dancing as something which can be beneficial and mostly just a fun thing to do in and of itself, but they don't realize how much it can improve their lives in other ways. For example, when we are going to an interview, when we're meeting our girlfriend's parents or our boyfriend's parents, when we're at a networking event, at a conference, how we convey ourselves is, of course, very important, right? We don't want to shut ourselves in or curl our shoulders or give any physical cues that we're shy or nervous or don't want to be there, even if that's how we're feeling inside. So what we want to have is a little bit more of an open chest, because that's displaying confidence. We want the shoulders down, which means we're relaxed. We want to stand tall, which is giving a sense of self-assuredness and power. These are all things that we learn just as a basic ballroom dance frame. So by training ourselves through this, we are naturally developing this sense, or we're naturally able to start creating this sense of confidence and being self-assured. And this is something that can be quite irresistible to other people. They start to wonder what our secret is, and they start to want to help us so they can learn more about us, or they can see that maybe we're the sort of person who gets things done, or that's just how we convey ourselves, right? So we can help to make things go our way. We can start, like, opportunities might start coming our way. Now, maybe you're not somebody who's as big into talking with friends. Maybe you prefer to play sports with different people as instead. Well, when we talk about sports, we usually are thinking about, there's a lot of different kinds of movements we make. We have to make twisting actions, quickly change our direction. We need to have control over our momentum. We need to be able to balance, usually on the balls of our feet, so that we can be able to weave and dodge as quickly as we can. We need to have fast reflexes. Maybe we need to grab that frisbee out of the air or knock the ball out of our partner's hands. These are all skills that we use in ballroom dancing. So ballroom dancing becomes an excellent form of cross-training with sports, meaning that it works a lot of the same muscles that we use because it is a full body exercise. You need those quick reflexes to respond to changing circumstances on the dance floor or things that are changing with your partner. You have to stay balanced, keeping the blocks of weight aligned over the balls of your feet. And you have to be able to do all these things and keep your whole body coordinated in one single unit. So it really can help to raise your game in your sport of choice. As you get more and more in dancing, two things that happen that we've talked about previously. One is that your lung capacity gets bigger, so you're able to take in more oxygen. And second is your heart gets stronger. Your cardiovascular system gets more effective at shipping needed nutrients around the body. So what does this mean? It means that when your muscles start to get tired, or when you would normally be gasping for air, if you have that dance training in your background, you are able to replenish those nutrients in your body that much faster. In layman's terms, this means you've just got a lot more endurance. And this is why sometimes you hear about different social dancers. They go out to a social, they're dancing until 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, and they're still going strong. They have developed, through repeated dancing, this endurance to be able to keep going with physical activities for longer. Now, maybe you don't do so much in the way of sports. Maybe you don't do very much in the way of physical activities at all, because you're worried about having an accident. Maybe you've had a few nasty falls in the past, and you're a little bit worried about doing anything too physical to keep that from happening again. Usually, or a big reason why a lot of people fall, especially elderly people, is because as you get older, we start to usually stoop a little bit, where our head and our chest start to sink forward, and so this causes us to be balancing right on the edges of our toes, right? And so it doesn't take very much for us to tumble head over heels. Now, when we learn to keep the blocks of our weight aligned over the balls of our feet or the center of our feet, we have a lot more ability we have a lot more time, let's say, to catch yourself if you're starting to tip over one way or another. And it's strengthening the stabilizer muscles through ballroom dancing so that it's not as easy for you to do that. It's also, again, through faster reflexes, you are able to catch yourself more quickly so that you have that reaction time to keep you from actually hitting the ground. Say we've already passed that job interview, we've made a great impression. Now we want to be more productive while we're at work. Okay, well, what are the things that hinder our productivity, mentally speaking? Sometimes we get distracted very easily. Sometimes we get stressed out and we want to have some kind of reprieve. We want to take an early lunch break. We want to have some sweets. We want to look at cat videos. Whatever it takes to just kind of give our minds some release from the stress of working. So what if instead of doing all these things, when lunchtime rolls around, we practiced our dancing for about half an hour? Well, what's going to happen? So through that exercise, first of all that lactic acid that gradually builds up from the effort of just holding ourselves, say in a chair in our cubicle, and is not getting flushed out because we're barely moving our bodies at all, now everything starts moving again. We can get rid of all those chemicals that was making us feel tired. The adrenaline starts going to make us more awake and more aware. It's allowing us to rest our minds because usually dancing tends to be a very physical activity. You don't need to do this with a partner, by the way. You could practice for half an hour during your lunch break, just going through the patterns that you remember and just getting that physical exercise. If you were to practice for another half hour, say at the end of the day, this would allow you to be a lot more present, potentially, for your loved ones when you get home. Because that same awareness, that same release of toxic chemicals, and that allowing your brain to rest allows you, again, to be more present when you're listening to your daughter talk about how she skinned her knee in soccer practice, or your wife relate her own frustrations of the day. A lot of people are worried that when they finished a long day at work, they feel very tired. They feel like if they tried to dance on top of that, they would just be no good to anybody after that. It's always interesting when I hear that, because I know personally a number of other dancers who dance because it's like a cup of coffee for them. They go home feeling so much more awake and reinvigorated as a result of that physical activity. Because when you were sitting in that cubicle, your body wasn't the thing that was really tired. You had the sensation of being tired, but you're not really burning much energy when you're sitting there. It is through the working that your body can get those toxins out, and at the same time, your mind, which was what was really getting tired, has a chance to relax and recuperate a little bit. And finally, on this sort of vein, it really is good for sleeping. For those of you who have trouble sleeping, this, of course, doesn't work for all of you, but it's something worth trying. For a lot of people, getting more exercise during the daytime can really help with you improving the quality of your sleep. Because again, you can imagine if you've got all this stress in your body, all this nervous energy in your body, your brain's going on overdrive, this is a horrible, horrible cocktail to try and go to bed on. So if you can go in a much more relaxed, restful place, you've allowed yourself to get a little tired physically from your workout, it for many people means a much deeper, much more restful sleep. Speaking of talking to your loved ones, by the way, I cannot think of a better activity other than ballroom dancing to find the love of your life. I mean, it is, especially for men. Guys, women love, love, love a gentleman who knows how to dance with them. I know that it's scary. I know that a lot of you are worried about looking like a fool in front of somebody who you might be interested in. If you are able to push past that, you know, if you can find a way to be a little bit more comfortable and just to recognize that, you know, we all make mistakes and often we're our harshest judge, you'll recognize that there is so much possibility that dance gives you. Speaking from personal experience, you know, I actually got into dancing myself because, believe it or not, I'm actually a fairly shy guy. I'm not, I don't come up with topics of conversation very easily unless it's something that I'm an expert in. So you're seeing me in my home turf right now. I'd be a much more quiet person, you know, like in person, relatively speaking. But it's dancing allowed me, and it's allowed a lot of other people that I know to sort of bypass those initial moments when you're meeting somebody that you're interested in, and you're worrying about, oh, you know, like what if I don't say something really witty or funny? She'll not be interested in me. She'll think I'm a loser. Or, you know, it saves you all that trouble and allows you to just come up and say, hey, you want to dance? And you get to shut up for a little while. You get to move with them and just get to know them just through the movement. And it helps, believe it or not, to build a sense of comfort and trust with that other person, especially if you keep coming back to the same social event over and over. Gradually, you get to know a number of different people, and you can start to get a sense of who might be interested in you as well as who you're interested in. It's how I met the love of my own life, my wife Caitlin. It's just a fantastic way of building a sense of comfort and trust with another person. So for those of you who have thought about getting into ballroom dancing, or if you know somebody who's wanted to try dancing but they haven't quite felt ready to take the plunge, I would just urge you to say to them, just give it a try. Honestly, there is so much good that can come from ballroom dancing, and all you need is a little bit of persistence and an open mind, and the good will just come from that, really. So this is where I'd like to leave things for now with the various benefits of ballroom dancing. I hope you've enjoyed this series. Next week we're going to go into dancing or ballroom dancing and romance on the floor, namely, you know, when it's appropriate, what to do if you're interested in somebody else, what to do if somebody else is interested in you, and maybe why you don't necessarily have to feel jealous if your partner is, you know, dancing with other people on the floor. So I look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, happy dancing.